You're listening to the Full-Time Function Musician Podcast, the #1 resource for growing your function musician business. If you're a solo wedding singer, part of a 12-piece luxury show band, or anything in between, and want to learn from other successful musicians, you're in the right place.
You're listening to the Full-Time Function Musician Podcast, and on today's episode, I'm very excited to be joined by our first Australian guest, international award-winning wedding and events violinist, Evangeline Victoria. Evie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Jack. It is so great to be your first Aussie guest.
Yeah, I came across your Instagram page fairly recently, actually, but immediately I was like, I need to ask this person to be on the podcast. It looks like you're living your absolute best life, just traveling the world, playing incredible shows, beautiful weddings. And so, yeah, firstly, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and talk to me. But am I right in thinking it's obviously summer in Australia at the minute, so you spend summer there, and then when it comes over to European summer, you travel over to Europe and then spend the summer here, like one endless summer?
Sort of. In theory, that is the goal. So I do go over to Europe, more around like the Mediterranean area.
Yeah.
So like Greece, Malta, Italy, Spain, like where the warmth is. I did go to the UK last year and it rained the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I go over there for 2 to 3 months during the summer season. And then I come back to Australia, hopefully to a warm season. However, I'm from Melbourne, which is very similar to London, and it is pretty miserable weather a lot of the time. We've had the most depressing November. Usually it's like spring, it's starting to warm up, we've got spring racing and everything, and it is like, as you can see, I'm still wearing my puffer jacket because it's so cold. I had a wedding in the Yarra Valley today and it was so cold, and it's just sad because next week is meant to be summer and we haven't even seen, like, I just can't wait to get sunburnt, as sad as that is.
Yeah.
I just miss the sun.
Yeah, I feel you. It's a very grey, miserable day here in England as well. So yeah, I mean, obviously I want to get into all of the wedding and the traveling stuff in a bit, but I'd love to first talk a little bit about kind of just where you got started as a musician and kind of a bit of the journey that's brought you to where you are now.
Yeah, so I have grown up with music in my family. So my dad's a musician. He studied piano at university. We have the same degree. He studied at the same university 46 years before me. But he also plays a lot of woodwind instruments, so like flute, clarinet, saxophone, and bassoon. And growing up, I was very exposed to all kinds of music, especially through him, but also I was a dancer. So I started dancing when I was 3 years old. I didn't start violin until I was 7. So I was very much amongst music and theatrics and dancing and performance. So I've grown up with it. And then I guess like through my childhood and my teenage years, it was just a matter of figuring out what I wanted to do with that and which direction I was going to take. And I was very, very fortunate. Being an only child, my parents kind of put their all into me and really supported any sort of co-curricular activity that I wanted to do, within reason. But I was always really drawn to the theatrics. I did, community theatre and music theatre shows, and then I was growing up dancing. I danced for 18 years. And then violin was something I started learning at school, and then we chose the high school that I went to based on my violin teacher, where she was also teaching,
right,
as like she taught at my primary school, but she also taught at the high school that we wanted to go to. So yeah, I was really lucky to sort of continue that throughout all of my schooling. And then graduating high school, I sort of made the decision I wanted to go down the music theatre route. So, performing on stage as a singer, dancer, actor. Mm-hmm. And I did a 1-year course at the Victorian College of the Arts, which is quite a prestigious school, college through the Melbourne University, specifically for musical theatre, dance, jazz music, like all that sort of style. And it was a 1-year course. It was like a foundation course. And I'm so grateful I got into that course and not into the full Bachelor of Fine Arts for music theatre, because it took that 1 year to realise that music theatre was not for me.
Yeah.
Even though I thought my whole life it was, as a career pathway, it was just not right. So then I kind of was like, okay, well, while I figure out what I want to do. I'm just going to audition for the classical music schools in Australia. I auditioned for 4 different schools, and I was really lucky I got into all of them. And I just chose the Melbourne Conservatorium of Music because it was the university closest to Bendigo, which is where I'm from. So I was like, well, we'll do that. So I moved to Melbourne. The year I was at the music theatre course, I was taking the train from Bendigo to Melbourne every single day, which is an hour and a half to a 2-hour train ride. And that was a struggle. I think that probably had something to do with my enjoyment of the year as well. Yeah. But that was when I got into the conservatorium. That's when I moved to Melbourne, made that call, and kind of started my big adult life, girl life, moving out of home. And from there, it was a 3-year course. I did it over 4 years because I was really wanting to try and work in the industry as well. I was still doing music theatre shows, but this time from the orchestra pit. So I was able to get a lot of experience and a lot of work doing that. I wasn't getting paid very much, but I was so lucky. My parents were so supportive. They helped with paying for my rent and my groceries and that sort of thing, so that I could, be able to start from the bottom and work my way up. And that's where a lot of networking happened. And then COVID ruined everything. And there was a lot there that I think I graduated right before we went into lockdown. And here in Melbourne, we had a bit of a notorious experience with COVID lockdowns and how many lockdowns we went into and how much time we were not able to do anything. And in that time, it was kind of a good escape from music for me as well. I think that going to university, maybe I look at the way I explain it, going to a music school is like you're a circle, and that you're being the university is trying to make you a square, or trying to get you to fit into a square. And that's how I really felt with university. I was kind of like, I really love playing my violin and I really love music, but I'm not enjoying this. I learned a lot when I was at uni. I became a better violinist. I was still very lucky to work with some incredible teachers and musicians, but as a general whole, I found it really, really challenging. COVID lockdowns, I spent some time away from the violin, and I got into the fitness world, which I think was really good for my mental health as well, being locked at home all the time. But halfway through lockdown for COVID, I had a friend of mine who reached out who was planning her wedding. I actually grew up dancing with her, and she asked me to play violin at her wedding. And I always loved playing at weddings. As a violinist, it's something that you're exposed to quite early on. I was in string quartets in school, and so I had opportunities to perform at weddings, and I loved it. And so I was fortunate enough to have that exposure. And I knew I really, really loved performing for weddings. So when my friend asked me to perform for her wedding, I kind of had this epiphany of how I could start my own business, which is something I'd always wanted to do. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And then doing it as a solo instrumentalist and not having to rely on other musicians to be in a band or anything like that. I was able to approach it as a soloist and use backing tracks or collaborate with DJs and that sort of thing. And then from there, I just hit the ground running. I made the most of the time that we had away from work and, being locked down. I built my website from scratch. I built my social media and then launched in November 2021 and hit the ground running and just did my best to make it work. And I feel like I've been very lucky to be where I am.
Yeah. Absolutely looks like you're smashing it. So did you have I guess it comes with violin is sort of on that sort of luxury side anyways, I guess. So did you have the idea that you wanted to be luxury when you first started?
Well, when I first started, I was just like, I can play at ceremonies. And that was kind of it. I was like, yeah, that's all I want to do. That's how a violinist is involved in a wedding. Ceremonies and cocktail hour. And then I remember a friend of mine within a month and a half of having launched my business, because remember, this was right after COVID lockdown. So there was a huge backlog of events that had been postponed, and only so many people in the industry that were able to have the availability to work and perform for these events. So I feel like I hit the market at the right time. But my friend, she's Sri Lankan, she booked me for her massive reception at the Plaza Ballroom here in Melbourne, which is underneath the Regent Theatre, which is one of the biggest theatres in Melbourne in the Southern Hemisphere. And I was kind of like, how? Like, how am I going to do this as a little violinist? And she kind of knew what she wanted. And I've always been very much a yes girl, like say yes to opportunities, see how you go. Yeah. And like, I think that helped me. So like my friend, the bride, and I just figured it out together. And then I did my first ever reception. And then I was like, okay, this is something I can do. So I added that to my list of services. And then proposals came into play and elopements. And then I started to do events that were not weddings, like birthdays and christenings. And then the corporate world found me, which is through like a lot of agents in Melbourne. So there were some agents reaching out to me, and I kind of just like grew from there. I've always been very much a yes girl. So I never knew how it would evolve, but I'm grateful for that. Like, I mean, there's some things where I'm like, why did I say yes to this? This is horrible. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So there's lots of positive that comes out of it. But I feel very much that, like, you know, the opportunity just came about and I just worked it out as I went. You know that saying, fake it till you make it? That's kind of my life motto. Yeah,
I know that well. So, I mean, weddings isn't all you do. Obviously, as you just mentioned, you got some corporate stuff as well. And I've seen you play like huge sports stadiums and other events like that. So, I mean, how did those come about? And I guess, do you have a preference on like what's more exciting for you to play?
Gosh, okay. So the main sporting event, the one that changed my life, was my first ever performance with Melbourne Victory last year in April. It was a derby, so between two Melbourne-based teams. And I got a phone call I got a message actually from, there's an agent based in Australia called Unplugged Entertainment, and it was Leighton. And he messaged me saying, hey, Evie, I've got a gig for you next Saturday. This is the first time I've ever heard from Leighton, by the way. Like, I knew of his work, but we never had the opportunity to work together. And I later learned that he was sort of desperate in that situation to find a violinist, because he had another violinist booked, but she was like at the pointy end of pregnancy, and I think she was just like, I don't think this is right. Which, you know, she's since obviously had a beautiful baby, and like, you know, her life's been changed in a different way. But it's like crazy how that all worked out. And then so he was looking for someone to cover this gig. And he's like, it's next Saturday during, mind you, so this in Australia, in Melbourne, September until May is peak season for weddings. So the fact that I got an inquiry for a Saturday in April and I was available for it was unheard of. I think I had, within like the 4 days surrounding that Saturday, I had 7 events. I even had another event earlier that morning, but I had that night free. And I remember thinking, I'm trying to like fill this Saturday, but nothing's coming up. And then as I got closer to it, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy the night off. I know I'm going to appreciate it when it comes. And then Leighton messages and like took that away from me, and I'm not mad about it. But he asked me to do this gig, and he was like, it's at Amy Park for Melbourne Victory. It's like a feature performance. And if any musician knows that if you get a booking at a stadium, more often than not, you'll be in a corporate box. So I didn't think much of it. I thought it was just a feature performance in a corporate box. Yeah. And it wasn't until I read the brief, and I was talking to one of my girlfriends she's a huge football fan, soccer fan, and huge Melbourne Victory fan. And I was showing her the event, and she works in events too, so she understood the brief. And she was like, Evie, this is a big deal. I'm coming with you. And thank God she did, because I was so overstimulated and so overwhelmed by the whole experience. Like, even just getting my accreditation that said field of play, like areas of access said field of play, that was wild. And then, like, you know, realizing the scale in which I was performing on the actual pitch, and I felt so unprepared for it, like mentally. But thank God I had my girlfriend there with me, because she was like, you know, helping me. Well, she was onto it. She was like making sure that I was ready by a certain time, making sure that I was like focusing on the right things and worrying about the other things for me, which was great. But yeah, 2 days later, that performance was posted on social media and it went viral. And I remember seeing the video being like, oh my God, that's me. And that's exactly what I commented. I was like, oh my goodness, that's me. And then Melbourne Victory, or A-League actually, they pinned the comment, and then that comment got seen by everyone that saw the video. So then from there, and then I was tagged in the video as well. And then from there, it just like blew up. It was wild. But in terms of like football and like the sporting events, they are so exciting because it's like so many people. And you know, especially in like the football world, especially with Melbourne Victory, I'm really widely known through that whole community. So now I feel like I'm part of the team, and there's like even more like unity with the, you know, the team's fans and that sort of thing, and even the team. But yeah, like I think that it's so hard to compare performances. Yeah. Like on different mediums, like, you know, weddings are my bread and butter, and they are, you know, so exciting, but like in such a different way. And then corporates, again, like some corporate events can be really straightforward and it's just like an hour background music. Others can be, you know, a big feature performance, or you might get to work with like a celebrity or things like that. It's really cool. So it just depends. I don't know. I just try to be excited for all my events.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, so you must have to do a ton of traveling now, just in Australia as well, because obviously Australia's a big place, and I guess you're doing weddings all across it, or not just in Melbourne. I mean, how does that affect your, like, I don't know, like your day-to-day mental stability with like always having to travel, get planes everywhere and things like that? Is that tough?
Wow, it is very taxing, like very exhausting. But I remember when I first got my first ever booking interstate, I was so excited because the idea of being able to travel, like I love flying. My dad used to be a pilot, and I feel like I've grown up with a bit of an aviation nerd bone in my body. Like I just love planes. So flying at the start was like, when I first, you know, got bookings, I was always really excited about it, and you know, it was like a fun challenge for me. Now it's something I do very, very often. I've got it down to a routine, so it's not as stressful. The stressful part is like just the sleep deprivation and that sort of thing. But I have my routine around it. I can sleep so easily on the plane. So like I have a full routine of how I, you know, prep myself, packing the day before, prepping myself the night before, so I can just get up in the morning, have a quick shower, get dressed and go straight to the airport. I live 12 minutes from the airport, so it's perfect. And then getting to the airport, like the whole check-in process takes me all of 4 minutes. I've timed it. I go through security. I've flown enough times. I've got enough points that I've got priority boarding and lounge access. So there's that as well. So it's a very comfortable experience for me. And I just make sure that like I'm choosing accommodation at my destination that allows for an early check-in, so I can go to my hotel, or at least has like an area where I can rest before I have an event that night, or even flying the day before. And then, flying early the next day and coming straight back home for another event that night. It's very common that I do that. I've flown, I think, over 50 times in Australia alone this year. That's like not including the something ridiculous amount of flights I did in Europe this year as well. So I've flown a lot this year, but I love it. I think it's just exciting. It's like, I'll complain that I'm tired, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm so glad this is my life. I love this.
So, I mean, you've mentioned social media a little bit as well. So was that event, is that where your social media blew up, or did you already have a pretty good following before that?
I worked really hard on my socials beforehand. I think I was like around 10K. Like I remember I hit double digits before Melbourne Victory happened. But yeah, social media I've always seen as a tool for people to be able to not see my work and my portfolio, but also get to know me as a human. I think there's this misconception of what violinists are like, especially like classically trained violinists. I think like, and I know that from just experience in working in orchestras and that sort of thing. Like, you know, some people, like it comes from a place of, you know, perfectionism and making sure that like there's that practice and everything. But I'm like super chill, like more chill than I probably should be. And I also come from a theatre background. So my personality is the way that I am, and especially very important in attracting the right clientele as well. So making sure that, I'm getting clients who know that I'm a little bit silly and like, I love a shot of sass in my coffee in the morning, and just, I'd love a good laugh and not taking myself too seriously, and making sure that I attract the right clients. I don't want to attract the clients that don't understand that side of me, because then I'd feel uncomfortable being myself around them, and they would feel uncomfortable with me being myself around them too. So I use social media not just as a tool to show my portfolio, but also my personality. And I just like me and all of my weirdness, and there's plenty of it. But yeah, that's like, for me, it's become a really important part of my business, but I also don't let it become everything. Like if Instagram were to disappear tomorrow, I haven't made it my whole personality. I haven't, like, it's not like I've lost everything, which I think it's a fine line to sort of balance that. But I've spent a lot of time on my mental relationship around social media, and how it's just a highlight reel. And I try to be as real as I can without being too vulnerable, because there's always people that are watching on social media that, I'm waiting for you to fail and waiting for you to slip up, and like, I don't want to satisfy them, but it's like one of those things where I'm like, time and place, I'll show my silly side, but like if I'm going through a really hard time, that's a private part of my life, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, what was the sort of plan behind your social media then? Did you say you worked really hard at it? Was there some sort of like schedule you had, or like, what did that look like?
Not really. At the start, it was about getting as much content out there as possible. So, and I don't encourage this, but if you scroll far back on my page, it's just a bunch of videos of me in my living room or in my bedroom, just playing like 30-second snippets of songs, of like pop songs, so that I could practice the repertoire, but so that people could see my style of playing and my face. Because obviously I was starting from scratch, so I didn't have any events there. And then from there, I started to implement things that were like showcasing what I wanted to book more of. So showing ceremony, showing cocktail hour, showing weddings in general, receptions. And then, I love performing at, doing Lebanese Zafir entrances. So posting more of that. And then, doing Greek weddings, showing more cultural things. And then from there, it's turned from like a business page to a personality page, where I show my work and my portfolio is there. But now I prioritize more sharing my experiences with work. There's so much of my portfolio in there, and I still drop little like things in there from like, videos that I've gotten at work that I really love. But also like, fun photos of me while I'm traveling, or, I used to be very video focused. Now I'm kind of a bit of both, and that sort of thing. But one rule I always have with myself is that I'm not to post something unless what I'm posting gives me genuine joy. If at any point I feel like I'm posting something just because, I haven't posted in a while, or, it's for the algorithm or consistency or whatever, then I don't allow myself to post it, because it doesn't reflect my true feeling. And there's been times where I've like posted anyway, and then I've ended up being like, I hate this video. Why did I post it? I hate this photo. Like, it doesn't make me feel good. Because I scroll on my own Instagram. I look back. It's a portfolio for me too. It's an opportunity for me to see the experiences I've had as well, and remember, oh my God, I remember that feeling I had in that time, or, pardon me, things like that. So yeah, that's a really strict rule I have with myself, and it sounds a bit silly, but it's also helped me to maintain a healthy relationship mentally with my social media, because it's so hard these days. People, you only see people's highlight reels. It's so easy to compare. It's so easy to, fall into the trap of posting for clout or posting for attention, not posting because you genuinely feel joy. And I won't let myself get to that point of like posting because I want more followers. Like, I'm deleting followers every single day if I feel that they're not following me for the right reasons as well.
Yeah. I mean, very hard to do, isn't it? Like, it's the whole thing is built to make us like want those things and need those
That's
things.
right,
and,
yeah.
So I mean, well done for that. So I mean, in terms of actual bringing in work, then do you get a lot of people getting in touch through Instagram to book you for weddings and things like that, on corporate stuff as well?
I mean, yeah. I don't take inquiries on Instagram because well, look, I'm going to be really honest. If I'm doing work, it's when I'm at my laptop and I'm checking my emails and my texts. And usually if I'm checking my Instagram, I'm like half asleep in bed right before I go to bed, or I'm doing like a late night doom scroll or whatever. So people inquire on Instagram, I always just redirect them to email. I take all of my wedding bookings directly. But Leighton, the agent I was telling you about before, who booked me for Victory, he's now turned into more of a management role for me. So he covers all of my corporate work. And then when I'm traveling, when I've got international work, or if I'm taking time off over Christmas, any like inquiries that come directly through my website, they get forwarded over to him and he looks after them. And he's been one of the biggest blessings of my career and like of my life. He's not just a manager, but he's like a best mate. He's a big brother. Sometimes he's a dad, like checking on me to make sure I'm eating and like sleeping enough and that sort of thing. But like he's been such a wonderful help in like maintaining a good balance, a work-life balance, but also ensuring that I am, taking the right direction for my career, for my brand, and trying new things and that sort of thing, working with different people that I haven't worked with before, that sort of thing. So yeah. But there's a true balance there. It's taken a while to get to that point. I still do a lot of my own work. He's the closest I've gotten to having an assistant, but even then, every inquiry that comes to me, I'm responding saying, hey, thank you so much for having me. Oh, thank you so much for inquiring to have me play at your event. I've CC'd my manager, Leighton, and who's going to take care of your inquiry today and do everything you can so that I can perform my best for your event. So it's still me. You've still like got me. I respond to every message I can on Instagram. I've recently realized that like message requests is the bane of my existence because they don't all show up. So I get freaked out, the idea of missing messages, but I respond to every message on Instagram. I try my best with Facebook, every text, I action every single communication because I don't want people to feel like I'm ignoring them.
Yeah. I mean, it's also super smart to move everything over to email because as you said, like Instagram, because I mean, last week's episode was about someone losing their whole Meta Facebook account. And so they didn't have access to any messages or some bookings and stuff were in there. So, I mean, and it could happen with Instagram as well. These things could disappear, but then having people in emails, having their email addresses. Yeah. I mean, hopefully it won't, but I mean, worst case it could. And just having everyone's email address straight away is just, it's super smart. Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Acoustic Backs and Tracks, your go-to source for premium acoustic back and tracks that sound and feel like the real deal. Whether you're performing at weddings, recording content, or just practicing at home, it's like having a professional band right there with you. Their tracks are recorded by top session musicians with real instruments and real emotion. No lifeless MIDI here. Need something custom? They've got you covered. From key changes to mashups to exclusive tracks made just for you. Plus, their customer support is fast, friendly, and actually understands musicians. No task is too big for them. And here's the best part. Listeners of the Full-Time Function Musician podcast get 10% off their first order. Just head to acousticbacksandtracks.com and use the code FUNCTION10 at checkout. That's function all in capitals and 10 at the end, but you can find their website link and the code in the episode description. Moving on to destination stuff then. I'm sure you do. When was that first sort of inquiry to come play in another country?
Well, I made the decision in 2023 that I wanted to do a European tour over summer in 2024. And I just put it out there. And I remember when I got my first inquiry, it was for this lovely couple, Fabio and Annabelle. They got married in Italy, in Pescara, which is in Abruzzo. And they were so delightful because they knew this was my first ever international inquiry and booking. And they were just so supportive in helping me understand the market. And they were like, we really, really want you, but we're going to let you know what other prices other local musicians are giving so that you have a chance of like competing with them and not just overpricing and then no one's booking you, which I really, really appreciated that, because essentially going from establishing myself in Australia and then I'm like starting again, reestablishing my brand in a whole other continent. So that was a challenge, but it was so exciting when I got my first booking. I actually think my first international booking was for New Zealand in September 2023. And do you want to know something really crazy? I went to Denmark in 2023 in August, and that was my first ever time leaving Australia.
Wow.
And then less than a year later, I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to go on a 2-month tour all over Europe and perform and work. And like, it was just like, you know what? I've had a taste for it. Let's go for the deep end. Like I just threw myself in, but it was something I really wanted to do. It was like a big goal of mine when I started my business, is to like perform internationally. Yeah. And here in Australia, New Zealand is like, often people don't count it. I counted it because I was like, it's still international. It's still a different currency. I've still got a stamp in my passport. Like I still counted it, but New Zealand was like an easy start. But yeah, my first tour last year of Europe, I did France, England, Italy, Greece, Malta, Spain. I had, by the end of the trip, I had performed for 13 events over that period. A lot of the couples were from Australia, having destination weddings, but there were a couple of people from the UK and from the US. And yeah, this year I was like, I kind of know what I'm doing. I know where I went wrong last year. Last year I was traveling everywhere. I was carrying 40 kilos of luggage everywhere I went. It was horrible. Whereas this year I kind of did things very differently. I clocked 20 weddings, all in Greece, except for one was in France. So I spent 3 days in France and then 9 weeks in Greece, which was amazing. And yeah, just left Greece this year, felt like I was leaving home to come home. Like I felt like I set some roots in Athens this year. And then next year I've already booked 21 weddings for the summer season next year over a 3-month period. This time, like just for like reference, this time last year for this year's tour, I think I had like 5 or 6 weddings booked. So the fact that I already have 21 weddings booked in November for next year is just like, it's so exciting to see that progress and growth. Yeah. And like, it's at the point now where people inquire, and then when I have a video call with them, they're confused why I don't have a Greek accent, or like why I'm Aussie, or why like I'm calling from Melbourne. So it's a nice problem to have. I'm not mad about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, just so I'm clear on this, you just put it out on your Instagram. I'm going to come over to Europe. I want to play some weddings. Hit me with some requests. Like,
yeah, pretty much. I put it out there, and then I started networking with locals in the areas I wanted to perform. That was mainly for last year. This year, same thing. I did a little bit more like connecting with specifically Greece vendors, but also there was a lot of vendors that I worked with last year who remembered me and wanted to work with me again this year. So that helped. But there was a wedding I did in July last year. I was actually covering a booking for another violinist who couldn't make it. She fell really unwell, and I was flown from Santorini back to Athens last minute to cover this wedding. And this wedding, the couple, like they're major influencers in New York. And the amount of bookings I got this year, people saying, oh, I saw you at Dana and Eric's wedding on Instagram. That's where we saw you. And so from there, I have so many couples from New York, and I love it because now I have so many reasons to go visit New York. But yeah, I think it's all been a mix of like putting myself out there on Instagram, networking with, locals. What else? Just showing people that, like, I find that when people can see me in the location of where their destination wedding is at, they're more likely to book because they can visualize it better, which was the challenge last year because I didn't have that content. So I found a location here in Melbourne that looks like Italy. and I had a photographer come with me, and we did like a video shoot and a photo shoot in this location, and pretended I was in Italy.
Yeah. I mean, that's so
just
smart.
To get something out there.
Yeah. That's so smart. Like, because that is obviously going to be the biggest struggle for someone that wants to show off that they do destination weddings without having to do one. So I was wondering, like,
That's right.
did you offer one out for free or something like that? Say, I'll come play your wedding for free if you let me. So next question, like, do you cover your flights and stuff, or is that like built into the quotes that you send out?
Sorry, this was like the biggest learning for me. So last year I just booked the weddings, charged just for the weddings. And then I was like, I will pay for the travel outside of that. So I had no intention of coming home with a profit.
Yeah.
I came home with I was dipping into my savings, my emergency fund. Like, it was financially a struggle last year, but it was also traveling as well. Like, it was a holiday for me. So it was,
but it's and but you saw it as an investment, right? Like, because if I've got these weddings and I've got this content, yeah.
That's right. So that's exactly right. And then there was like maybe one or two where they were like for friends from Australia, where like there was one couple that flew me, they're friends of mine from Australia. They flew me from Malta to Mallorca for their wedding. And I didn't have intentions of going to Mallorca, but I was like keen. To be honest with you, never heard of Mallorca before their wedding. And they flew me over, and they just paid for my travel, and I didn't charge them. And it was a 3-day event. So I played their welcome party, the wedding, and the after party all for free. And they covered the travel and the accommodation for like those days, like 5 days total. And that worked as well. But I found that this year, because I was traveling everywhere and carrying everything with me, I wanted to do it differently for this year. And so this year I created a home base in Athens. I had an Airbnb booked in Athens for the whole period. And then I could like fly to Europe with all of my luggage, dump it in one place. And then I was doing lots of FIFOs, like what I do here in Melbourne, going to Sydney and Adelaide and Brisbane and Queensland and whatever. I did that same thing for Athens. So I was like in and out of Athens. I was on a plane every single day. It was exhausting, but so much fun. I was on a different island every day performing for like August especially was ridiculous because I only had, so out of the 20 weddings I did, 5 of them were in July and the rest of them were in August. And the first 2 weeks in August are a sacred time of the month with the death of Mary. So there's nothing happening in Greece. I had one wedding in France, and then everything was after the 15th of August. So I had those like 14 weddings in the space of 2 weeks. It was wild. But I have my home base, and all of my couples were charged travel from Athens. So if the wedding was in Santorini, they'd be charged travel, like flights, accommodation, transportation from Athens. The wedding I had in France, it was from Athens. So they paid for flights, accommodation, transport from Athens. My flights from Australia, I don't charge anyone that. That's my call, because essentially I'm telling the world I will be in Europe already. So may as well book me while I'm there. It'd be different if outside of that season someone inquired and said, I want you to play at my wedding in Lebanon and it's October. Yeah. Then I'd be like, okay, well you need to pay for the flights from like Australia, and that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, I think that's essentially what is like. I still didn't expect to come home with a profit from the tour this year, but I came home with a small profit, which I was stoked with. And yeah, it was very, very unexpected, because I was like, I mean, not only am I traveling, I'm also shopping and like holidaying. So
you got to eat. You've got to,
that's right. I got to eat, and there's so much food to eat.
Yeah, that's amazing though. And so, I mean, what have you learned going into the 2026 season that what you can improve on from last time?
So the problem I made this year was booking weddings back to back to back on different islands, and it was doable. Like I could make them all work. It'd be easier if I was a robot and didn't require sleep. So that's something for next year. I've made sure that I've allowed time to enjoy like certain islands. Like I'll be in Athens for most of it. A lot of my bookings are in Athens, but you know, I've got one wedding in Paros. So I'm making sure that I've got like 3 days beforehand so that I can enjoy Paros and then do the wedding and then go back to Athens for another one. So making sure there's enough time in between to enjoy the place that I'm going to. The one thing that broke my heart towards the end of my trip this year, I went to Kefalonia and I fell in love and I had 2 days there.
Are you going to head back? Are you going to head back next year?
100%. I'm going to Zakynthos next year for a wedding, and like all those Ionian islands are all like close together, so I can do Zakynthos, Kefalonia, Lefkada, Ithaki, like all those Ionian islands where there's so much greenery and trees and hills. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Is there anywhere on your bucket list to play that you haven't been booked for yet, or somewhere you have been booked to that's next year? I mean, you've hit all the pretty nice spots already.
I do a lot in Greece. I would love to, because I don't think I've actually mentioned this. I'm not Greek, despite the fact that I look Greek, speak Greek, my name's Greek, I play Greek music. I'm Australian Maltese, so I would love to go and perform for a wedding in Malta.
Yeah.
Even in Italy, I did a couple in Italy, but they were not like those really iconic spots. Like I did one in Florence, which was beautiful. And then this wedding in Abruzzo that I mentioned before. But I would love to go to Sicily and Amalfi Coast and Positano and like do all that, the southern part of Italy as well. Yeah. Where else? There's like, that's Europe. Like I'd love to perform in America. I'd love to perform, you know, in some of the Asian countries as well. Like I've only ever been to Europe and New Zealand and Australia. So now that I have the confidence to travel, I'm now excited to explore more cultures and countries. But yeah, I think I was so attracted to Europe because I understood the cultures much more and the people much more, especially being in Melbourne. There's a lot of Europeans here. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to travel everywhere. I see places every day on Instagram. I'm like, I want to go there.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it's still like a new-ish thing. You've only been doing this for like a couple of years. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure you'll get to all those places. And so, I mean, how do you approach like content from those kind of weddings? Do you just use your phone on a tripod and stuff like that? Or do you like asking the photographers at the weddings to like give you the pro stuff?
There's no method. Like I don't have one set way of doing it. Every wedding is so different. I do make sure that I like take the time to get to know the photographers and videographers, not for anything other than to just build relationships and network. Yeah. I'm not the kind of person to like butter them up just to get something out of them and then, you know, never talk to them again. Like I genuinely love connecting with people in the industry. So that's something I do. And I know how much of an effort it is to ask them, hey, that video that you shot before, can you send that to me? Like that's like trying to find a needle in a haystack after they've done a 12-hour day of filming, trying to find one small snippet of me. Like it's not important. They're not going to worry about that. I'm asking too much. That's like too much to ask. So instead I might just ask them, hey, if you just have a hot minute, I just want to play like a 30-second snippet. Can you film it on my phone for me? I'd really appreciate it. If they can't, it's fine. And usually I can read a person well enough to know like I'm pissing them off. Content creators, again, same thing. I'll ask them to film on my phone because asking them to do it from their content, it's a lot of work. And it's also, there might be a privacy policy they have in place with their client. It's not fair to ask that. I bought a full camera for Europe this year. Did you think that I remembered to bring it with me anywhere? No. I have a drone. Do you think I remember to bring that? No. Do you think my drone could handle the wind in Santorini? No. So most of it was on my phone. But yeah, there's no method to my madness. Like sometimes people film it for me. Other times I will have like a little mini tripod and set my phone up and film myself. I'll set my phone up and film for like a 45-minute set and then just like cut the little snippets out. Or there's like sometimes I'll just find someone. There might be a sound technician that might be able to help me. Sometimes guests, I've seen that guests have filmed like a really cool moment and I'll just be like, hey, I saw you filming that section. Can you like, is it okay to ask if you could airdrop that for me? It would like really help my business a lot. You know, just being like normal human, like prepared for people to say no. But a lot of the time people like really honored that you've asked them. So Yeah, but there's no right or wrong way. There's no specific way that I do it. Sometimes I'm like, this is going to be a wedding where I just need to figure it out myself. And there's other days where I'm like, you know, there's a second shooter, they might be able to do something. And then sometimes you'll get the creatives who are like, I want to film something specifically for you. I'm going to send you this drone shot. Like, it's their call. And when it's their call, then like they just I let them do the creative process, and like I'll do whatever they want me to do. So yeah. Also, awesome. A lot of couples will send me photos after the wedding of their album from their wedding too. So then that comes through, but that's like a patience thing because it doesn't come through straight away, but it's okay.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's like more pressure for these kind of weddings just because, I don't know, that obviously at this destination, they're spending a lot of money on things. I don't know. Do you feel more pressure for them?
I mean, I'm comfortable with it. Like, I know that they've booked me because like they love my work and they trust me, and I give my all to every performance that I do, whether it's in a football stadium or an elopement or a proposal or a small wedding. So I don't feel the pressure performing. When my violin is on my shoulder, I am at my most comfortable and peaceful state, and I can really just like let loose and drift away with my violin and like do some of my best work when I'm just in the moment. So I don't necessarily feel more pressure for them. I think the hardest part about destination weddings is just like the communication. I realized that in Australia, we like our culture, the way we approach certain things, or even just call, like cocktail hour here is called canapé hour. In Italy, it's called aperitif hour. So like, you know, it's that sort of language where it's that's like the most challenging part, and like, you know, making sure that everyone's on the same page. But the actual performance side of it, it doesn't stress me out. That's like the bit I'm most comfortable with.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So just before we sort of move on to the last bits of the show, would you have any sort of tips or advice for anyone that is looking to do sort of destination wedding stuff?
Just put yourself out there. Like, I by no means at any point in my career or my business have I been an expert at anything other than playing the violin. And even then, still not an expert. Like, I've been figuring it all out as I go. There's no right or wrong way to do it, but you have to start somewhere. And that just is just putting yourself out there, network with people, learn as you go, say yes to opportunities, fake it till you make it. There's no right or wrong way. Like I said, like I've gotten my bookings from every which way. Like there's not, some people got me through Instagram, some saw me through, you know, through another planner's page. Some people just like Googled violinist and I popped up, whatever. Like there's not any specific way, but like if you don't put yourself out there, no one's ever going to be able to find you.
Yeah. Beautiful. So, I mean, you've already mentioned a few amazing shows that you've done, but is there any other sort of standout events that have been good or bad for you?
So many good events. I'm very lucky. I haven't had any bad events, so to speak. There's been like events where there's lots that have gone wrong, but nothing that's like so memorable that I'm like, oh my God, that event was horrible. But one of the best ones I did was last year in December. I was flown to Qatar to perform for the FIFA Intercontinental Cup between Real Madrid and Pachuca.
Wow.
And at no point at any part of the process did I realize what was going on. Like, I didn't know. For someone who's very involved with soccer and football, I know very little. To this day, I still say that there's a green card, but there's not. I need to do my research. But yeah, I didn't know who Real Madrid was. And to be honest with you, that boded well for me because I think I would have absolutely freaked out had I known before. But that was a huge standout for me, having the opportunity to be flown to Qatar and then honestly, I was treated like royalty. I didn't want it to end. It was incredible. Just so incredible. Tough work, but incredible experience.
Yeah, wow. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, this just leaves us with the last bit of the show then, a quick fire round. Is there, before we move on to that, is there anything that you wish I'd asked you or anything you wanted to leave the audience with?
I don't think so. I think I'll think of something later on, like when it's too late. But at the moment, I don't think so.
Perfect. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So first question of the quickfire round. What is the most effective thing that you've done to market yourself or your business?
Social media.
Yeah. Solid. Yeah. What have you learned in the last 3 months that you wish you knew 3 years ago?
Setting boundaries so that setting boundaries to the extent that I do now, and making sure that I'm protecting my heart and my energy first and foremost, because I've always known you can't pour from an empty cup. And it's important to set boundaries, but I've just learned it on another level recently, especially around interactions with people in and out of the industry and that sort of thing, making sure that I'm still honoring my why and why I do what I do, and making sure that I am still enjoying what I do and protecting that energy.
Yeah. Important stuff. If you were just starting out now, what is the first thing that you'd do?
Oh my God, I'd cry if I had to start all over again. No. Gosh, I don't know. First thing I do, network, just like put myself out there. I would have, I'm sure, abundance of time on my hands. So I honestly would do it exactly the way I did it the first time. Just put myself out there, create videos, create my website, learn the skills outside of just playing the violin to be a good, entrepreneur.
Yeah. Just quickly, actually, your website, is that still the same website that you built originally? Because it's a beautiful website, and it does everything it needs to do. It looks great. I don't know if you'd had anyone else come in to redo that or anything. No one's.
I'm in the process of completely redoing my website. Predominantly, I've had someone come in to help me with this one, but the one that you see now is still 100% me. If anything, I've had feedback from, honestly, my manager. He's really, really good with websites and stuff. So he's given me feedback on small things, and I've made tweaks here and there. But that website is 100% my creation. But yeah, we're now updating it because I use Squarespace, and in terms of SEO and everything, it's just all the technical stuff that I don't fully understand, but I'm leveling up now. And I've had someone come in to help me do that simply because I'm so time poor now that but I'm kind of sad that it's kind of coming towards the end of that era, but I'm very proud of that website.
Is it going to look completely different then?
Yeah, it's going to be a full makeover.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, great job on that one.
Thank you.
What is the biggest mistake that you've made, and what did you learn from it?
It's a bit sad, but trusting everyone. I'm a very trusting person. I like to see the best in people. And more recently, I've just been burnt. Which comes into play of that whole boundary thing I was mentioning before.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's okay to be a trusting person. I think I'm an oversharer. I'm a chronic oversharer. So I've learned to not share too much.
Yeah.
Podcasts are terrifying for me for that reason, because I just get into a rhythm of, but yeah, I think just being mindful of what I put out there, and some knowing that not everything has to be shared, or if I'm working on something, holding my cards close until it's time, until the right time.
Yeah. Good stuff. Last question. Do you use any specific tools or apps to help manage business?
I think you would break into hives if you knew my process. There's quite a few apps. I'm an Apple girly, so I use Apple reminders, and my reminders is let me see if I can show you. This is what my reminders looks like. It's rainbow.
Yeah.
And I enter in when I contact my clients at the 3-month call, 1-month call, whatever. And then I have a daily to-do list that's automatically generated every day. So that's one app that I use. I use Google Keep, which is basically notes, but Google Docs. So that's how I keep notes for all my my couples and all my my bookings. I use FreshBooks for invoicing, EverSign for contracts. Like it's all separate, and I've done that strategically because if I had it all in one system, if something happened to that system, I'd be thoroughly fucked. Whereas I'm down to the point now where, just in case, this is perfect because I'm in my office, I have handwritten, what do you call it? Calendar, because just in case. But yeah, it's kind of all over the place, but my process is like very streamlined. And I was very lucky when I first started my business. My dad's the musician. My mum is like so good with the other stuff. So she was the one that was like, great, you're starting a business. Let's write a contract out. Let's set you up with an invoicing system. And essentially at the start I was like, oh, I don't need that just yet. Like that's kind of too much. But I'm so glad she set me up with that stuff because I hit the ground running and it got really busy really quickly. And I had my systems in place so that I could just kind of do everything like very, very quickly and then still have lots of time I wasn't wasting my time manually writing out an invoice. It was all automatically generated as soon as I set up a new client sort of thing. So yeah, there's a lot of apps, but like I love them all. They've all helped me streamline my process. And I'm always open to like streamlining more and making things more refined and better. But and like taking feedback from clients as well. If at any point in the planning process they're confused, I take on that feedback to make it easier. Because if one person is confused, and another might. So even just tweaking the way I communicate things as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's we've talked about this on the podcast before. It's so important to set up those systems early on because, once you get busy, you don't have time to figure all that stuff out. And I've made those mistakes before. And I'm still trying to figure them out now while being busy. So it is important, but it's hard because you're like, I'm not busy enough to worry about these things. Yeah. And you are.
That's true.
So that's it. We're obviously, for you, is this the start of like a peak season now? Are you just warming up to getting super busy or is it already started?
Well, it was busy as soon as I got back from Europe, start of September. October was super busy this year. Usually November is when it kicks off, but start of November is always crazy with spring racing, Christmas season coming in, corporate events, and then wedding season really kicking in. But now that like there's like a couple of corporate gigs during the week, but fundamentally it's just weddings at the moment. No spring racing, that's all finished. And then it starts to settle down. January is busy, but it's still more quiet. February is when it's like February, March, April is when it's crazy with weddings. And then October, November is when it's wild with weddings and corporate. So it's all happening. And then, as soon as I think I get mid-June till mid-September. So that'll fly. That'll come so quickly. I'm already contacting my travel agent. She's like, girl, like, like I've already booked my flights and like, my travel agent's a good friend of mine from high school. So she honestly, I'm going to do a shout out for her, Dana from DS Travel. Honestly, I have given her some messed up scenarios to like fly me from, and she's unbelievable. She just started her own like business separately from another company she was working for, and she's absolutely killing it. And I could not do these tours without her, because especially if I get a last minute booking, I'll just be like, got this booking at this time on this venue, and she'll just work out everything. So she's amazing. Yeah,
awesome. So that brings us to an end. Where would you like to send people if they want to find out a little bit more about you or give you a follow or whatever?
Honestly, Instagram is the best way to go. Evangeline Victoria Music. But if you search Evangeline Victoria Music on any platform, I'll pop up. So TikTok, YouTube, my website, Google, Facebook, although Facebook. So like pretty much everywhere. Also, I mean, I can say this now and you're like officially the first person to know this, but by the time this comes out, it'll be news, I'll be releasing my first Spotify debut on the 1st of December as well, at 6 p.m. Melbourne time. So, yeah. I don't know when you're releasing this, so maybe it's going to be already out.
Yeah, this 2 days. So
2 days. But I'm making the announcement tomorrow, so this is perfect.
Yeah. Oh, great. Perfect. Awesome. This has been super fun. Thank you so much for coming and taking the time to chat with me.
Thank you so much for having me, Jack. It was very good to chat.
So there we go. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And I just wanted to say a massive thank you to Evie for coming on and chatting to me. You'll find all her links in the episode description. But yeah, that is it for this season of the podcast. I will be back next year, 100%. Please make sure you subscribe on whatever podcast platform that you use so that you'll be notified when a new episode is released. But yeah, that's it for this series. Take it easy, and I'll catch you next year for season 4 of the Full-Time Function Musician Podcast.